wait a minute, I missed a week or two in between, didn't I? Should probably make up for that. Yeah, there we go. Oh yeah. Alright, hey everybody, welcome back to the show. As always, I'm Alocide. So let's have a beer and talk about some video games. Alright, so this week we're going to start off with a game concept which caught my interest. This one in particular sprouted from the Tropes Against Women video that was released a couple of weeks ago and started some discussion around the internet. Hopefully, maybe get things moving in the right direction. But this concept surrounds itself with the Legend of Zelda lore, which caught my interest, and it was put together by the Dresden Kodak website and webcomic artist Aaron Diaz. He put together this really detailed design document with concept art and some exposition into how he thought the characters could work. And the main point was to have Princess Zelda as the main playable character, so that she would be taken out of that damsel in distress sort of position that she's been put in for 20 plus years now. I think it's a pretty cool idea. I think it might be a little bit misguided in that he basically switched Zelda with Link and gave her the Master Sword and the responsibility of saving him. Why I think that's misguided? Well, it doesn't really go with the lore. I don't think that it would necessarily have to place her in the same position as Link. I think Zelda as a character could stand by herself with her own gameplay elements and maybe not so much the sword play and stuff that Link is involved in. I mean, she's been reincarnated just as many times as Link, and she is a powerful magic user according to the lore. So I don't think the Master Sword would have to play into her character progression at all. Plus it also helps that she's a holder of a part of the Triforce. So I think that could tie itself really well into the storyline and what they've got going on. I mean, it's been rebooted and the story's been told so many different ways now, it's kind of getting a little bit old. My main point, I don't think that a game starring Zelda would necessarily have to copy the gameplay elements of a game that Link was the star of, but I think this is a step in the right direction. But anyway, moving on. I saw a quote from the Crytek CEO this week that upset me a little bit. As you could probably tell from some of my videos, a lot of my favoritism in games is based mostly on the music, the art direction, character arcs, and the story. So this kind of tweaked me a little bit. And what he said was that game experiences are 60% about the graphics. No. More specifically, this is Savat Yerli, Crytek's CEO. He said, the better the graphics, the better the physics, the better the sound design, the better the technical assets and production values are, paired with the art direction, making things look spectacular and stylistic, which is 60% of the game. While I can somewhat agree with what he had to say there, I wholly do not agree that a game is based solely around what it looks like. I mean, look at some of the classics that are still around today that people go back and play, or stuff that I point to on a regular basis. Some of it looks like crap compared to what we got today, but I still play it. And it's not because they're graphically sound, it's because they're a great story-based game, or the gameplay itself is actually fun. I mean, yes, the graphics engine can help you with the physics engine and maybe in part some of the sound assets, but I really don't think that 60% is a proper numeration of how that should be attributed. Psst. Hey buddy, you want the good stuff? You see this art? It's 60% frame. And last thing on my list of things to talk about today, only going to touch on it briefly since it's kind of been absorbing the internet this past couple of weeks, but I gotta touch on it just really quickly, and it's regarding the Xbox always-on DRM thing in terms of the next generation. It is still a rumor, and it seems to be gaining strength as we near the May announcement. I did see another rumor that sprouted up, and this one, I've only seen it in 2 sources, so it hasn't really gained any headway, and I'm not exactly sure if it holds any salt. But this particular rumor, which came from VG Leaks, a highly respected rumor monger, they've been right pretty frequently in the past, and it's basically what it stated was that there's going to be two versions of the next generation of Xbox, and one of them is going to be basically an Xbox Mini, which won't support any disc media, so it's all going to be downloadable based. And then the other one is going to be like a more traditional console where we have a disc drive and hard drive and all that fun stuff. It did say that it would be an always-on console, but it wouldn't necessarily require the internet to play video games on, which to me sounds more in line with what is happening now and is more reasonable for us, the consumer, because as I've stated in the past, DRM to me just makes absolutely no sense. Yeah, I'm not even going to bother getting into it, but I thought I would throw this out there and maybe cross my fingers and my toes and whatever other appendages you might have, that maybe this is a little closer to the truth than all of the other shit that we've heard regarding the always-on and the no used game support. Oh, which in fact I forgot to mention, if this rumor is true, that would also mean that used games would also be a viable option. We'll know for sure in May, so until May I'm not gonna touch on this anymore, since what we know now is based solely in rumor and fiction, and none of it is grounded in fact at all. So moving on. Fuck that story. I don't want to hear another thing about the next Xbox until May. So yeah, I think that about wraps it up in terms of what caught my interest this week. If you had anything to add to any of the news stories that I brought up, please be sure to leave a comment down below and I will interact with you. I do like starting discussions about these sort of things. Or if you had anything else to share that I might have missed, you know, there is the occasional news story that flies under the radar that might pique my interest, so make sure you share that with me too. I will be sure to share all of my sources that I pulled all of these wonderful stories from in the description down below. But thank you for watching, I do appreciate it. And if you want to come back and have a beer with me next week, make sure you subscribe. I have a couple of item gets in the works, so be sure to check back for those later on in the... What part of the month are we in? I won't say month. Later on in the week, I'll probably have something for you. So until next time, I'm Alocide. Cheers, everybody, and I'll see you next time. Oh, it's a bonus week. I get 2 beers.